Okay guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to build a fire pit. First thing you need to do is you need to trace a larger circle. I'm using the glass as my circle. Once you've traced that, then you're going to trace a smaller circle, something that's smaller than that in diameter. So then you should have 3 circles. Okay, the second one, don't put the circle in the middle, or the third one. You're just going to do the first one first. Then you're going to have to cut it out either with a hot knife, hot wire, or a box cutter. Be very careful so you don't cut yourself. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and I'll be back. Okay, so now that you have all 3 cut out, now I chose to use a knife because I didn't want an exact circle. I wanted mine to look kind of rocky looking, so that when I carve my actual stone in here, I'll have contour to my stones without having to actually create it. Alright, so this is the 3 circles. Now you can cut yours to be exact, and then you can carve the stones as you go. It's not a big deal either way. It just makes it a little bit easier for me on the next step. So stay tuned and I'll be back with more. Okay, so now that you have them all cut out, now I'm going to use this tool that gets hot, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut around the inside circle. If you have one of these, be extremely careful, because they do get extremely hot. And they will burn you if you're not careful. But you can also just use a box knife. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Now you have the circle. Okay. Okay, so now that you have the center cut out, now you need to trace that same circle on the inside of this one, so you have them in the exact same spot. Okay, so once you have that trimmed out, then you need to do the second one the same way you just did the first one. Okay, now the third one, what you're going to do is draw your circle, and then you're going to put angles going all the way around.
With our exclusive mobile glass shops and our one-of-a-kind True Seal technology for a reliable bond. Service that fits your schedule. That's another Safe Light advantage.
Just like that, and then cut the center out. Okay, so now once you have that done, we need to make this smaller. So just go through and cut it with your hot wire or with your knife, whichever it is that you're using. You got a plan? You can't come up? Now, if you don't have a hot wire or a hot knife, you can always do this with a regular knife, or you can just cut these pieces individually. And that's it for that part. Okay, now you want to clean up the back and then go from there. Okay, so now once I have that done, I went ahead and I trimmed up in the middle with the hot wire here and all the way around so that they have indentations like individual bricks. And the next thing I'm going to do is kind of just go along the edge, just like that, and make some nicks in it in various locations. Okay, and then we'll rough it up a little bit more along the whole thing. Alright, and I'll just continue that process all the way around, and then until I have it to the part that I like. Alright, so now you should have a bottom piece, a middle piece, and a top piece. Now this is like 1-inch foam, so when you cut the top piece off, unless you're doing it on a saw, it's going to look kind of ragged on the bottom. Now I went ahead and messed around with all of this on here to make it like that, and then we're going to work on doing the side stones. Okay, so now you have the rings. So now you need to go ahead around and do lines going around completely all the way. I'm using the soldering iron with the pointy tip for wood burning. And I'm just doing a line straight down like that. Now once you have all the lines done, then you can start shaping your stone. Okay, so just kind of go around like this. Alright, and then I'm just taking the soldering iron and I'm just kind of letting it nick the top a little bit and the edges. And this is where it helps to have it cut with the box knife because it makes it very irregular.
Introducing History Vault. Unlock a treasure trove of historical videos, ancient civilizations.
Alright, so you're going to do that throughout the whole entire thing until you get both pieces done like that. I'm going to go ahead and work on it and I'll be back. Okay, so now that you've got all three pieces, you need to put some liquid nails on here, just a little bit. Just a tiny bit going all the way around it. You don't need a lot of it. Okay, now you want to have your stones go in the opposite direction. So like this one should not be lined up with this one. They should be separated all the way around. Okay, and then kind of like go like this to flatten it out a little bit. Okay, double check your inside, make sure your stones aren't lined up in there either. If they are, then you'll have to readjust to where you have this. Okay, so now once you have that done, then you want to take some toothpicks and press them down in there.
Half toothpicks. Be easier.
Alright. Then after you get it down in there, then you'll clip them off.
You use these half ones.
Okay, so now they're completely off. And that's just going to keep it from turning in case the glue doesn't dry right away. Okay, now you want to take your top piece and you want to line this up separate away from it too, so that you have different areas like that. And then you're going to put a little bit of glue around here. Now this is liquid nails. Kind of turn it to get the glue. Alright, then once you do that, then you want to put it upside down and put something really heavy on top of it and let it sit for like 24 hours so it can cure. Then we'll show you the next step. Alright guys, so once you have your fire pit all glued together, the next step is to grout it and to do the plaster part. Now I'm using some brown grout and a little bit of plaster. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water to my plaster, and then I'm going to mix it up. Okay, just mix it a little bit there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of grout to that plaster. Okay, just mix it all up just a little bit. Okay, now the purpose of this is to go and fill in the crevices between the top and the bottom. Now, unless you cut it flat, you're going to have this. And you don't want it to cover in completely, but you do want it to cover enough to where it doesn't look quite so gappy. Now, if you had cut it on a saw, you wouldn't have that at all, and you wouldn't need this step, so just keep that in mind. I did not cut this on the saw because I just felt it was too dangerous to try and cut this styrofoam in half at a small spot like that. Okay, so once you've filled in all of that top layer like that, then go back because now it should be pretty close to being hardened. And you want to go ahead and redefine those lines because you still want it to look separate. You don't want it to look like it's all one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and redefine this line here. Redefine that. Just take out what you don't need. Make sure you redefine all of these. Alright, and just continue that process all the way around. That way you still have two separate pieces here. You don't want it to look like one. Alright, so now that that's done, now you need to grout the entire thing. And how we're going to do that is we're going to take a separate bowl. Now, I'm just using recycled containers, so don't use good bowls when you do this. There's too many things that you can use that's recyclable and won't use your money. So I'm going to put some grout in here. Then I'm going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to mix it up. Okay, after I mix it up, then I'm going to add a little bit more grout, and then I'm going to mix that up. So now I'm going to drain off the excess because I added a little too much water. Alright, now when you have it at like a watery consistency, but just kind of a little bit thick, that's what you want. Alright, now I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm just going to paint it on. Just going to cover the entire thing, just like this. Make sure you're defining your lines as you go to make sure that you still keep them. You don't want to put so much grout in there that you have to go back and take out the grout when it's dry. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and paint the rest of this and I'll show you when it's done. Alright, so once you have the entire thing grouted, you're going to let it dry. Now, I don't think it's going to need another coating of the grout because it looks like it went on pretty good. But if yours does, then just give it another coat once it's all dry. And then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so now you just want to take some acrylic and you want to do a dry brush technique. That's when you wet the brush and you take most of the paint off. And then you just want to go over top of it just a little bit in various areas. Sorry about that. Try to hit the peaks, okay? And you want to do this with all the colors that you chose to get different areas of it. Okay guys, so the fire pit is all painted. I've made a little stack of logs here that it's all wrapped up. I used some regular wire to do that. The little seats, and now all it needs is to be put on top of the house. Also, I have my burnt firewood inside of there, which I just knocked down turning it. And that's how you do a fire pit with seating and logs. Okay, so now we're going to make logs for the side of the fire pit. We're using the planer.
A little block planer.
A little block
planer. Be
planer.
careful that you don't shave your finger. And you just take a couple passes over it like that. That does a nice job.
See how it's just flat right there? And what that does is, like, when you put it on the thing, it'll roll like this. But when you do that, it'll be flat. And then it won't roll. Like,
here's another one we can start. Until you get it started, it's a little rough.
Now, we just went outside and got the wood, like it was a little tree branch outside. You can freeze it if you like. Make sure it's wood that's been sitting out over and aged already. But if you want to freeze it to get rid of some of the parasites or whatever that could possibly be on it, then that's what you could do. Again, this is just so it doesn't roll. If you don't care if yours rolls, then you don't need to do this at all.
That's nice and flat. These are some smaller ones.
Okay, now the other thing we did is we took the other part of the branch where it split off into a Y, and we cut them to make firewood. You can make yourself a box fire with it if you like. And put your little fire up in there, or you can just kind of put it in there whichever way you want to. Okay, so to split your firewood, we're using a small chisel and a hammer.
If you want to split them again, then you turn it and do a 90. It's best to do it from the end rather than this way. This way you can do it, but it's a lot harder because the log will move. And you can do all size logs. And it's easy to tell where the middle is because the middle will probably be darker, or the growth ring will be in the center, if you can see it. See the little white spot in there? That's a growth ring. And you just tap it. There was a knot there, so that one it was a little harder, but it still went. You can see it on here. Or you can judge about the middle. Yeah.
Okay, so once you finish cutting them all, you should have a bunch of very small firewood that is split.
Takes time, and take your time.
Alright, use caution and be careful, or find somebody like my dad to do it for you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Okay, so here's what they look like once I did them. And I think that'll look pretty cool inside my fire pit. It's got the burnt up bark and everything. Like I said, don't try it at home. It's very dangerous. I don't want you guys to burn your house down or anything. Okay guys, well that was it for this video. We are still working on some minor things with the dollhouse. We have a little bit more to go. However, if you subscribe below, we will post the images or the videos as we do it so that you can see how the progress goes. Also, if you subscribe, we'll have the tutorials that we'll post as well, and you'll be able to see them. And we plan on making some furniture and a few other DIYs, so you don't want to miss that. And also, if you go on our Facebook page under Dollhouse Miniature Madness and Tutorials, you will be able to find lots and lots of pictures of everything that we've done, along with a few other things. And then, you know, you can comment there or you can comment below. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave them, and we will get to them as soon as we can. But other than that, we're going to continue working on this miniature madness because we're having a ball. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.